Good morning. I think we are live. I'm just going to check that it is as it should be. If there's any problems, if someone could ping me a message, that would be lovely, and I will see. I don't go live too often these days because I just don't have time. And I found myself with a little bit of time on my hands this morning. And I thought I would come and say hi about some issues that I've come across recently. And I thought I'd use it as the opportunity to have a little chat about it. I'm also going to put this as a blog. And if anybody's interested, just ask me and I can ping that across to you so you can get some more information. So this actually started as an inquiry on one of the local Facebook pages this week. And somebody was asking about, could somebody recommend somebody who's had laser hair removal somewhere that's actually worked because she'd had it before and it hadn't. And it's a really difficult one to kind of comment on a post like that, because there's so many different reasons why you may or may not have had success with laser hair removal. So I thought I would come and address it, and I think I am going to be seeing that person soon, actually. So just to give you a little bit of background, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sally and I have Sally Wagstaff Aesthetics in Wade Street in Lichfield. We've been in that venue for about 18 months now, having been in various different venues across the local area over the last few years. I've been doing laser hair removal for a very long time, since 2014, I think it is. And so it is something I know a little bit about. And I just wanted to come and sort of see if we can help people's questions if they have any. Maybe they're not sure about sort of going for laser hair removal, if they're not sure they're a good candidate, or indeed if they have had it before and not got the results. It feels quite weird sitting looking at this picture behind me. So I'm actually at home today rather than in the clinic. I will be in later on, but I used to sit and do lives all the time during sort of lockdowns and things like that. So it's quite weird having this background to me because I haven't done it here for ages and ages. So what is laser hair removal? Laser hair removal is a light and heat-based device that is used to destroy hair follicles, to slow down and reduce hair growth in certain areas. Some people say you can't call it permanent removal, it's reduction, and I kind of get why they say that, but we are permanently destroying hair follicles with each treatment. So we are permanently removing hair. But long-term results depend on a huge variety of different things. Now, when I'm assessing somebody for laser hair removal, one of the most important things to look at is, are they a good candidate? And so the things that I look for is obviously medical health. They have to be medically fit and well to have it done. So certain medications can be considered photosensitive. They rarely cause problems, to be fair, because it's more UV light that is the concern with photosensitive medications, and this isn't UV light. It's near infrared. It's red light rather than ultraviolet, but it is something to take into consideration. Certain medical conditions you have to be very careful of. The one that concerns me the most actually is like the cold sore virus, or if anybody ever has it anywhere else, sort of most notably genital herpes. Light-based treatments can trigger an attack, so it's really, really important that I know about that. So that's something to take into consideration. And then, assuming all is well sort of health-wise, they can't have had any recent sun exposure. Now, Soprano, the laser that I use, is the only device that you can actually, well, there may be others now, to be fair, but for the most part, for the time I've been using it, any sort of zappy, bang, bang, bang type lasers cannot be used on skin that has a tan at all. Because the Soprano works on an gradually increasing heat sort of method, you can actually have a tan for treatment with Soprano ice. You just can't have had recent sun exposure, or you can't be about to go in the sun. So I say at least 2 weeks before and after sun exposure, whether you've got a tan or not. So that's really important. Sunbeds do not mix with laser hair removal. They really, really don't. You have to have at least 4 weeks either side of a sunbed treatment, which means it disrupts the treatment cycle. It's almost impossible to do because people who have sunbeds want to have one more often anyway, and you just can't get enough of either in to give you results you want in either thing. So if you are a regular sunbed user, which for other reasons I think isn't a very good idea, but if you are, then laser hair removal really isn't for you, and you shouldn't be having treatments. That's to say, if you decide you do want laser hair removal and are prepared to stop having sunbeds, then great, we can do it from 4 weeks. The other most important thing to see if somebody is a good candidate is hair colour. So hair for laser hair removal needs to be dark. The way that it works is the heat, the pigment in the hair absorbs the light from the laser, which travels down into the surface of the skin. I should have done diagrams, shouldn't I? And that light is converted in that pigment to heat, and the heat destroys the mechanism, the growth mechanism in the hair follicle, and it helps destroy the little very tiny blood supply that that actually goes to each hair. And so it's heat itself that destroys the hair follicle. If you don't have pigment because your hair is white, grey, blonde or red, because it's a red light, it can't see the red colour, and also lighter browns, there isn't enough pigment, even though there is some, you won't get the heat generated to destroy those hair follicles. So that colour is really important. The darker the hair, the more pigment there is, so the more heat that will be generated inside those hair follicles. The thickness of the hair. So coarse hair is very good because by definition it has a bigger vessel to hold more pigment. So finer hair by definition can be very dark, but if it's too fine, the vessel isn't big enough to hold enough pigment to create enough heat to destroy those hair follicles. So this is where the pigment is the most important thing. Like I said, blonde hairs, red hairs, light brown, you're not going to get a result with that. Regular waxing, plucking, you can't be doing that because it's the hair itself that gives you the results. So the hair has to be there in the hair follicle to get the result. You can shave. We don't want to heat hair up on the surface of the skin because that will just heat the skin up, and we're not trying to do that. We don't want to burn anybody. And with the soprano, it's highly unlikely that you will do that because of the way the heat is delivered. So hair colour and hair density and coarseness is really important. Skin colour is relatively important. With some lasers, it's crucial. With soprano, it's less important. Because of the way the soprano delivers heat to the skin, I can treat all colours of skin up to very dark black African Caribbean level Fitzpatrick 6 skin colour. Because of the way the heat is delivered, the energy is enough to still destroy the hair follicles. Traditional lasers that zap that energy in, you have to turn the heat right down because otherwise you risk burning the skin. But that isn't something that I do with soprano because we can have the heat level right down. It just takes longer. So hair, skin colour is a consideration, but it isn't. It doesn't completely preclude people from having laser treatments with good results. So it is something to bear in mind. So when we're talking about whether your laser hair removal worked or not, did you have the right colour hair? Has somebody misadvised you? I had somebody come to me a lot of years ago, actually, probably about 10 years ago, and say to me, I've been going to this person for years and years, and I've been having laser every 2 to 3 weeks, and it's no better. And I looked at her hair colour. I said, has your hair colour changed in that time? And she said, no, this is how I've always been, and it's just not changed. And they had taken thousands of pounds off this woman, and she had very light blonde hair. It was never ever going to work. So you need to make sure that you have got the right colour hair. The routine is really important. Has somebody advised you to have your treatments too often? So facial treatments should be done every 4 to 6 weeks. Body treatments should be done every 6 to 8 weeks initially. So I had somebody that came to me and said, I've been going, the one I've just mentioned said every 2 to 3 weeks. So that was too early. So you're missing hair cycles. And I had somebody else say that they've been having their legs lasered every 4 weeks. And that is fundamentally wrong. Your hair cycles on your body are about 6 to 8 weeks. So if you're doing them too soon, so you're treating, that hair cycle hasn't come back in to be fully regrown for the next treatment for at least 6 weeks. So if you're then taking money off people at 4 weeks, there isn't either any or enough hair there to treat. So it's a waste of their money. And so you're missing cycles. So it will take more treatment. Sorry, my coffee machine has just switched itself off. That's the noise in the background. So the gaps between appointments are really important, and you don't want to go too long either. So 4 to 6 weeks for face, 6 to 8 weeks for body. So that is another reason why it may not have been as successful as you were hoping. The advice between appointments is really important. You can carry on shaving. You can shave right up to your appointment date. I don't want hair on the surface of the skin. So that's really important as well. But were you not advised that you shouldn't be waxing, for example, or are you still plucking your face because you can't bear the thought of having hair there? Some women really struggle with the thought of shaving their face, and I understand why. It can feel quite masculine, and it can in some cases be enough to stop women actually coming to me for treatment in the first place. You just have to kind of get over that hump, because it does start to improve quite quickly, and it becomes less stressful the more you realise that facial hair is improving. So if you're still plucking or waxing in between treatments, or you think, oh, I've missed my laser and I'm going on holiday, so I want to be hair free, and then you wax, it will disrupt their hair cycle. So I know when I very first had treatments a long time ago, before I was doing it myself, I had treatment elsewhere. I wasn't told that, and I was a bit chaotic at booking my appointments. So I would wax in between treatments. Nobody had ever told me, and it was never on a bit of paper that was given to me or anything like that. Nobody had ever told me I shouldn't be waxing. And so I didn't get the results over my initial block of treatments that I thought I was going to get, because my hair cycles were all over the place. So that's really important. Are you being given the correct advice about gaps between treatments, how to manage hair growth between treatments? Those are really important points for the success of your treatment later. The device is also an important consideration. So there is a huge range of quality of devices out there. In the last 3 or 4 years, I have seen an increase in other slightly better quality devices. When I started 12 years ago, Soprano there wasn't anything anywhere close to it. It really was absolutely the best thing on the market. And I still believe Soprano is the best on the market, but there are some others now that are pretty good and are giving good long-term results. The least good ones out there are sort of cheaper IPL machines that are less controllable, more likely to cause burns. For some people, they might be completely fine, but they are quite often IPL machines are quite complicated to use. I used to have IPL for other treatments that are very good, skin treatments, tattoo removal, those kind of things. They're very complex bits of kit. And if you haven't got the settings right, if you don't understand the physiology of the hair cycles, of the hair growth, and you don't understand how the different wavelengths work, the sort of different strengths of energy that you need to use, you might not get the results that you're hoping for. So the device itself is really important. Is it a quality device? Is it being used appropriately for your hair colour, your hair growth, and those kind of things? Because they are really important factors to take into account. Have you got darker skin, and therefore they're having to turn the temperatures down because otherwise they're going to burn your skin or it's too painful? And in some cases, by turning particularly in the sort of zappy type lasers, by turning down that energy on the skin, you can actually stimulate hair growth. I have a lot of Asian and darker skin clients come to me saying, I've had laser hair removal somewhere before, and actually my hair growth is now worse than it was when I started. And by heating up the hair follicles, warming them up, can actually stimulate hair growth. You need to heat those hair follicles to a point that those hair follicles are destroyed. And if you're using traditional lasers and you're having to turn the heat down because of skin colour or tolerance to the treatment, that can in some cases stimulate hair growth. So that can't happen with Soprano. Well, it can, but again, I'll address that in a minute. So quality of device, really, really important. And then the other thing that is important, regardless of the device that you're using, is the practitioner themselves. I have a client who now comes back to me. She's a student. She had treatments with me previously before becoming a student that were paid for by her parents. And then when she went off to be a student, she suddenly had to start funding everything. And she found a practice near where her university was, where they were using a Soprano, so the same device that I use. And she came back to me, they were doing an offer basically, and she got quite a few treatments quite cheap, which happy days, why wouldn't you? Of course you would, because they were trying to grow their initial client base. And she came back to me and said, it's not working, Sal. When you do it, it really works, and I see a difference. Why isn't it working? And this is about knowledge and understanding. And if you're not getting results that you think you should be getting, understanding how to address what you're doing and to make changes to what you're doing to ensure you do get quality results. So you can have exactly the same device as somebody else, but not get the results because the practitioner perhaps isn't as experienced or doesn't understand what they're doing, perhaps hasn't had the right training. And to be fair, if you've got a soprano, I would anticipate you having the right training. However, it doesn't always happen. And it may be that practitioner has been over the last couple of years. It may be that practitioner now has more experience and perhaps could get better results. But if you're not getting the results on a machine that you would expect to get results, it's probably practitioner error and they haven't perhaps got the experience or the understanding that they should have to get those results. So she subsequently came back to me because she knew that although she was paying less at the other place, she wasn't getting the results. So it's worth coming to me and knowing she's going to get the results that she wants to get. So they are the key things that will affect hair growth. And the other one that I can't control is hormones. There are various stages in life, and this is, I think, obviously particularly prevalent for women because our hormones change and fluctuate more than men's throughout our lives. And each hormonal change can affect hair growth in a variety of ways. That might be, puberty is a classic example. Suddenly we develop hair that we didn't have before. So that's a hormonal change that is making changes on our bodies to create hair in places that it wasn't before. Oral contraceptives, HRT, so in sort of hormones that we take for a variety of reasons, will affect hair growth. Now, some people get an improvement in hair growth, some people get a worsening of hair growth. Other hormone issues, thyroid function, polycystic ovaries, all of these issues can impact hair growth. And you might find you change one hormonal thing and it impacts another hormonal thing. And all of those will have a variety of different changes on our hair growth, on our body. So if I just recap quickly on those things. So if you're coming into this late, a lot of people will be suitable for laser hair removal, but not get the results. So hair colour. Are you suitable for laser hair removal in the first place? Is your hair dark? The coarser the better, because by definition you have more pigment. It's the pigment that's important. White, grey, blonde, red hair will not respond. Some brown hair can look like it should respond and doesn't. And the theory is that it's probably got a mix of red and there's enough red in there that there isn't enough. It's taking up the space of where brown pigment could be, so you're not getting enough heat generated. So sometimes there is a trial and error. And if someone comes to me with suspicious hair colour, maybe they say that if they ever sort of colour their hair, it always comes back red regardless of what they do. When they bleach their hair, it does go orangey. That might indicate that there's some more red in there, particularly when it sort of kind of grows out. Sort of glimmers of red, or family members that have got red hair, those kind of things. We need to take that into account. And quite often I will do a quite a robust patch test on those people to see if we get a result. In those cases as well, it's worth mentioning that if somebody has red hair, or there might be some mix of red in there, or some people you can see they've got different, they can have dark hair, red hair, blonde hair, all in the same area. And sometimes it is worth doing some laser on those to thin areas out. If they're prone to stubble rash, shaving rash, those kind of things, sometimes it is worth doing some treatments to permanently destroy the darker hair and thin out hair in that area. Even that can be considered a good and positive result. The routine, are you having those laser hair removal sessions spaced appropriately? Are you doing 4 to 6 weeks for face, 6 to 8 weeks for body? Over time, as we get a result, we might be able to push those out so you leave those gaps longer, and that is very much a case-by-case thing as well. Is your advice appropriate? Have you been told not to pluck or wax between treatments? Are you using hair removal creams and bleach too close to your treatment? Because they take the hair or the hair colour below the surface of the skin, which may reduce the amount of pigment that is available to give you a result. So that's also worth bearing in mind. Are you using a quality device? Is the device calibrated properly? Does the practitioner know how to use it properly? Are they having to turn down the settings because your skin is darker? All of these are really crucial points in making sure people get a good result. And is the practitioner experienced and properly trained in that device? All of those things are really, really important. And I always take things on a case by case basis. When I get the how many sessions so I don't have to shave my underarms ever again, there is no answer to that. I never promise complete clearance of hair. There is no course of 6, course of 8, whatever it is, because everybody is different. You have lots of potential hair follicles on your body. I can't predict how many there are. In a square centimetre on your leg, for example, you could have 80 to 100 potential hair follicles, and you'll be using a handful of those to grow hair at any given time. A treatment of laser hair removal will destroy maybe 20% of that growth at that particular time. It may damage other hair follicles as well. So all of those hairs fall out, but only 20% of that hair cycle has been destroyed. And your body can go on and go, well, there's a hair follicle I haven't used yet. Let's give that one a go. And so over time, you reduce the number of active hair follicles the body can use. But it's not a case of one treatment, it destroys all the hair follicles and it's done. It's not even a case of it destroys all of the hair follicles in that hair cycle. It only destroys a portion of them. So I cannot control your hormones. I cannot control how many hair follicles your body decides to recruit at any given time. It's why we don't do blocks of treatment anymore. We do an ongoing system, and we do discounts on additional areas to keep prices down, because I can't say to you 8 treatments is done. Now 8 treatments, traditionally it's understood that 8 treatments on the body will give you a 70 to 80% permanent reduction, and other hair that is there should be finer and softer at the end of that, and it should never really go back to what it was. But it absolutely isn't going to get rid of all hair in that area forever, and I never promise that. And so by having a course of 6 or 8 or whatever gives an expectation of result. And I did it for a very long time, for lots of years before I realized that, and changed the way we do this. And people are happy if they understand where this might go. Now, I've probably had, I don't even know how many I've had. I don't really shave anything anymore. Once or twice a year, I'll do a bikini top up. I did my knees. My knees took longer, so I've got really itchy nose. I think I'm getting a cold. My knees took a little bit longer. I think the skin's a bit thicker on knees, so it took a little bit more. But I don't shave my legs at all. I was looking in good light today, and I could probably do with a quick once over on my legs. I haven't done my legs for about 5 years. And if I do whip a razor over anything, it's very soft. I don't get a rash. I used to get terrible rashes. So there is no such thing as a long-term, permanent, complete hair removal with laser hair removal. It doesn't exist, and I never pretend that it does. But what I do try and do is manage expectations, improve things. If we're not getting results that we hope for, we try and work out why. And if I don't think I'm going to get you a result, I won't treat you and I won't take your money. Sometimes I might say, okay, well, look, we've got 40% white here, but actually it is probably worth doing a few sessions to thin the rest out, because ultimately all of those hairs will go white eventually. Facial hair in a square centimetre, I mentioned on the legs you've got 80 to 100 hair follicles potentially in a square centimetre. On the face, in the same square centimetre, you could have up to 500 potential hair follicles in that square centimetre. You can imagine if we're only permanently destroying 2 or 3, maybe 5 at a time, it could take a long time to get where you want. That's not to say your body will use all of those potential hair follicles, but the point is it could. Facial hair can be very hormonal, it can be very persistent. Generally speaking, I get people to very good places and to the point where I might not see them for 2 or 3 years, and then they might need a couple to get them back to where they were. Or I might just see them regularly a couple of times a year ongoing to manage it. And that's still a good result from somebody who might have been shaving their face every morning. This is women, by the way. I don't generally do male faces because the hormonal input is just too great. And you just can't get the results that you want on male hair growth. But, generally speaking, if I think I can get a result, it can really take the pressure off and take the stress out of women's facial hair growth, which can be really fundamental to your identity, if you like, because people find it very stressful having hair growth on their faces when they feel like it shouldn't be there. So it's about managing expectations, managing things like hair colour, skin colour, hormonal input, all those kind of things, and making sure we get the best result that we can. I don't make any promises, but what I do promise that I will do the very best I can and advise you honestly and properly for your skin type and hair type. As I said, I'm going to put this into a blog, so all this information should be there. If you would like me to email that to you, or I could even message it to you on social media, stick a message below this, or if you want me to email it to you, send me your email address on messages, and I will try and get that information across to you as soon as I can. Overall, laser hair removal is fabulous. There's some good devices around these days, but you do get what you pay for. People say to me, oh, I can get this for whatever cost somewhere else. And I said, you don't necessarily always get the results, even with the same device. So do your research. Feel free to come and have a chat with me. All of my consultation fees for laser hair removal are offset against treatment. That's not the case with skin consultations, but it is for laser. So do come and have a chat with me about that, with no obligation to book treatment if you don't want to. I will get this across in a blog, and it will go out in social media posts as well. But if anybody is interested and would like a little bit more information, please do ping me a message or comment underneath the thread, and I will get back to you very soon. It's been nice coming to chat. I haven't done it for ages, and I will try and do more soon. Take care.